When the CEO of Nvidia, one of the world's most powerful tech companies, says his business went from 95% market share in China to zero, you know something big has broken. Jensen Huang isn't just talking about lost profits, he's sounding an alarm. The man behind the chips driving the global AI boom says America's trade policies may be hurting itself more than its rivals. In a world where artificial intelligence is the new oil, shutting out half of the world's AI researchers, most of them in China, could backfire spectacularly. Huang calls it a mistake that no policymaker should think is a good idea. So how did Nvidia go from dominating the Chinese AI market to being completely shut out? And what does this mean for the global tech race and for America's own AI future? Let's unpack how a single policy decision turned the world's AI leader into an outsider overnight. Just 2 years ago, Nvidia was untouchable in China. Its advanced AI chips powered everything from self-driving cars to data centers and research labs. With a staggering 95% market share, it wasn't just a supplier. It was the foundation of China's AI ecosystem. Then came the export bans. In 2022, the Biden administration placed strict limits on the sale of Nvidia's most advanced processors to China, citing national security concerns. The idea was to slow down China's progress in artificial intelligence and supercomputing. Nvidia responded quickly, designing new chips that stayed just under the performance limits, a clever workaround that allowed it to keep selling legally. But the U.S. government didn't stop there. By early 2025, the Trump administration tightened the screws even further, blocking new chip sales and demanding special licenses for every transaction. Beijing hit back, telling Chinese tech firms to stop buying Nvidia hardware altogether. And just like that, Nvidia's dominance disappeared. From 95% of the Chinese AI chip market to 0%. Huang now says all of Nvidia's forecasts assume China is out of the picture. It's one of the largest markets in the world, gone overnight, by policy, not by competition. And for a company that once powered both sides of the Pacific, that loss cuts deeper than numbers on a balance sheet. At first glance, Washington's plan seemed simple: weaken China's AI development by cutting off its access to Nvidia's chips. But Jensen Huang is warning of a dangerous side effect. The pain isn't one-sided. In an interview with Citadel Securities, Huang explained that what harms China can often hurt the U.S., sometimes even worse. Nvidia's chips aren't just tools for China's tech giants, they're also a bridge between the world's top researchers. Roughly half of the world's AI experts are based in China, and many rely on Nvidia's hardware to train cutting-edge models. Now, that bridge is broken. By locking China out of American chip technology, the U.S. risks pushing its biggest competitor to build an entirely new tech ecosystem, one independent of American innovation. Huang fears this will accelerate China's domestic AI chip industry, cutting off U.S. influence permanently. And that's not all. Nvidia's absence in China also means billions of dollars in lost revenue, which could limit the company's ability to reinvest in new research. In other words, the policy meant to protect U.S. innovation might end up slowing it down. Huang put it bluntly, "I can't imagine any policymaker thinking that's a good idea." But this isn't just about Nvidia. It's about the global balance of power in AI, and what happens when politics collides with progress. And as one door closes in China, another might be opening somewhere else. But for who? What began as a trade restriction has now evolved into something far bigger: a tech Cold War. After Washington cut off China's access to Nvidia's most advanced AI chips, Beijing hit back hard. The Chinese government imposed strict limits on exporting rare earth minerals, critical materials used in making semiconductors, batteries, and nearly every high-end technology product. It was a mirror move, the same playbook America used, just reversed. These rare earths are essential for the very same processors the U.S. is trying to protect. Without them, chip manufacturing becomes slower, costlier, and far more dependent on alternative, less efficient sources. In short, China found a pressure point and pushed back. The result? Global supply chains are once again on edge. AI startups, data centers, and car manufacturers are all scrambling to secure materials. And while politicians frame it as a national security issue, tech executives like Jensen Huang see something different: mutual destruction. Huang wants the world to run on U.S. know-how, but shutting out the second-largest computing market in the world, China, could backfire. "It's a vibrant ecosystem," he said, "and I think it's a mistake for the United States not to participate." The message is clear. This isn't just about chips. It's about control, of data, of innovation, and of the future itself. And as both sides dig in, the next move could reshape the global AI race forever. For most companies, losing an entire country, especially one as massive as China, would be catastrophic. But Nvidia isn't just any company. It's the backbone of the AI revolution. Still, even a giant can stumble when it loses its biggest customer base. Before the bans, China made up 20% to 25% of Nvidia's total revenue, a figure that helped fuel its rise to a trillion-dollar valuation. Now, that revenue stream has evaporated overnight, replaced by uncertainty and political risk. Jensen Huang insists that Nvidia is fine without China, at least for now. The company's forecasts have completely written China out of the picture. "If anything happens in China," Huang said, "it'll be a bonus." But behind that calm confidence lies a dangerous reality. The AI chip boom that made Nvidia unstoppable depends heavily on continuous global demand. Without access to China, the world's second-largest computing market, that demand could start to plateau. And there's another hidden threat: competition. While Nvidia is locked out of China, domestic Chinese tech firms like Huawei and Baidu are racing to fill the gap with their own chips. Once they catch up, those doors might never reopen. It's a high-stakes gamble, one where politics, not technology, is deciding the winner. The question is no longer whether Nvidia can dominate AI, but whether it can do it alone. Technology was once seen as the great equalizer, a tool that connected the world, but now it's being weaponized. The US and China aren't just trading tariffs, they're trading blows over the future of intelligence itself. AI chips have become the new oil, powering everything from national defense systems to billion-dollar corporations. And Nvidia, once the symbol of open innovation, has been pulled straight into the middle of a global power struggle. The ripple effects stretch far beyond Silicon Valley. Startups in Europe and Asia are feeling the heat, unable to access the latest processors. Research labs that once collaborated across borders are now caught in bureaucratic crossfire. Even American allies are starting to question the growing divide, forced to choose between economic opportunity and political loyalty. As one analyst put it, the new Cold War isn't fought with missiles, it's fought with microchips. Jensen Huang's warning hits harder in this context. Cutting China off doesn't just weaken one rival, it fragments the entire global AI ecosystem. And if innovation is divided by borders, no one truly wins. But despite all this, Huang isn't giving up hope. He believes diplomacy and pragmatism can still bring balance back to the system. If the world learns to see technology not as a weapon but as a bridge, because once innovation becomes a battlefield, everyone starts losing ground. After years at the center of the AI boom, Jensen Huang has seen firsthand how fragile progress can be when politics interferes with innovation. His message to policymakers is simple, but urgent. Think before you break what you don't understand. In his conversation with Citadel Securities, Huang didn't name any politicians, but his frustration was clear. "Before we leap towards policies that are hurtful to other people," he said, "maybe reflect on what are the policies that are actually helpful to America." It wasn't just about profit, it was about perspective. Nvidia's growth and the entire AI revolution has been built on a global web of collaboration. Engineers in California, researchers in Beijing, manufacturers in Taiwan, and investors from everywhere in between. Shattering that network doesn't just isolate China, it weakens the US as well. Huang isn't asking for open borders or blind cooperation. What he's calling for is nuance, the ability to compete fiercely while still keeping the lines of innovation open. It's a delicate balance between protecting national interests and protecting the very ecosystem that made AI possible in the first place. He knows that America's tech supremacy doesn't come from isolation, it comes from influence. And cutting off half the world's AI researchers, as he put it, is not influence, it's surrender. His warning isn't just for Washington, it's for anyone who thinks progress can thrive behind a wall. As the global AI race accelerates, the stakes have never been higher, not just for companies like Nvidia, but for the future of technology itself. For years, the world has watched Nvidia transform from a gaming chip maker into the engine of the AI revolution. Its GPUs power everything from self-driving cars to advanced research labs. But now, that same success has turned into a geopolitical fault line. Huang's comments reveal a sobering truth. The AI race could collapse under its own weight. When nations weaponize innovation, they don't just slow down competitors, they slow down humanity. The world risks creating two disconnected AI ecosystems, one built on Western technology and another led by China's rapidly developing alternatives. Once that split happens, catching up or reconnecting may be impossible. And yet, amid the tension, Huang still believes in optimism. He envisions a world where technology drives progress, not politics, where competition pushes creativity, not conflict. If anything happens in China, it'll be a bonus, he said, a simple phrase that hides a deeper wish, a return to collaboration over confrontation. Because the truth is, no single nation can own the future of intelligence. The moment innovation becomes divided by fear, everyone loses. So as policymakers, investors, and engineers stare into the uncertain horizon of AI, one question lingers. Will we keep building walls around progress, or start building bridges again?